Habit Awakening, a beautiful, gorgeous wellness center who will adjust you mentally, emotionally, and physically. Also, it will help you to manifest your finance, anything and everything you desire for. This place is a very beautiful place which is located in Crona del Mar. So please book your appointment today.
Psychic Radio, Earth's #1 psychic radio network, and watching Moonstruck TV and Lightning Television. Welcome.
Time for Jacqueline Close-Moore Live with Jacqueline Close-Moore. Jacqueline Close-Moore. Live from Jacqueline.com.au.
Connect direct. In North America, dial 888-454-2751. In London, 20-3519-2158. In Sydney, dial 02-8488-3147. Or online, contact us through our Facebook page, facebook.com/psychic radio.
Or one of our websites,
AskOneRadio.com or Moonstruck.tv.
This is Jacqueline Close-Moore Live
On A1R, the Ask One Radio Network.
Hello, back again. I'm Jacqueline Close-Moore and I'm coming to you live from Melbourne. I'm actually at the periodontist office. Why not? It's a very special day. I'm getting this very special treatment. I just wanted to say hi. You can also catch me as well on Facebook now. I've moved my little Facebook page for my show onto Jacqueline Close-Moore Live. So if you're looking up on Facebook to find me, that's where you'll connect. I'm going to be coming back every week. I'm going to take calls. I'm also going to take from the show, do the 14 minutes thereabouts, and move across onto Facebook and do live readings there as well. So if you're trying to reach me, that's where you can also find me. But yeah, it's good to be back on Moonstruck TV and A1R Psychic Radio around the world. I'm just having some fun with my my settings here on my phone. It's sort of a very ad hoc situation. I just wanted to speak to the Black Lives Matter, protest and uprising really that's going on around the world, and really acknowledge our Australian Indigenous elders, past, present, and still emerging, and also pay special respects and acknowledgement to the traditional owners of our land here in Melbourne and across Australia, and give thanks for the wisdom that certainly many Indigenous people that I know share with me. And I just want to recognise the disparity in our community, both here and around the world, for people of colour, and really pay respect to all those people who are speaking up. I certainly do speak up for people of colour, and I stand with you. And one of my favourite Olympians in Australia is actually Peter Norman. And in the 1968 Mexico City Olympics, he actually stood up on the podium with John Carlos and Tommy Smith, and they only had one glove each to do the, Black Power signal. And he stood there in solidarity with them. So when you sort of see this picture of this white man standing with these guys, he's actually standing in solidarity. He's wearing a badge that recognises their cause and for speaking up for equality. And I think it's really beautiful that people recognise this more and more. As far as I Can't Breathe and some of the really awful posts that sort of raise a conspiracy about that, I'm not going to speak about that post and say what's on it. It's revolting. What I want to say is that it's very right for people to be able to chant I Can't Breathe, to give recognition of that cause, give recognition of the need for police brutality to stop for people of colour. And there is actually a high incidence in Australia of only less than 3% of Australia's population is actually Indigenous, and yet it represents such a huge amount and percentage of incarcerated people in Australia. And I Can't Breathe are actually the last words of David Dungai, and I hope I've pronounced his name correctly. I apologise if I haven't, but that's his last words, as he was also held in a hold that brought the end of his life. And I want to acknowledge that and the injustices going on in Australia, and really want people to think more about how they can help to bring down systemic racism in our country and around the world, and think about equality in everything we do. And as far as white people saying all lives matter, it's really important to understand that Black lives have to matter as well first, because they haven't been mattering enough. And it's really good that people are starting to recognise that. So I really wanted to talk about that first. And I know that some people are really going to dislike me because of that. You know what? too bad. I've always spoken up for my Indigenous brothers and sisters and people of colour and different cultures around the world, and here in Australia as well. And it's really important to, when people in our politics are saying that, don't import this issue. This issue has been here since the beginning. When Captain Cook went sailing around and declared this country to be terra nullius, which means no human life here, and classified Indigenous people as fauna. And it's just reprehensible that we still have these statues up that stand monument to people who did massacres against the Indigenous, very much existing people that were here before white people got here. And it's kind of bizarre that we talk about wanting to keep boat people out of Australia when that's exactly how the first white people got here, on boats. And when people talk in Australia about, not wanting to let people come here and change our ways, well, how many ways have we changed since we've gotten here, particularly of Indigenous people who are living in peace, thank you very much, before we got here. And then we're going to get into a historical argument about that, no doubt. But it's going to be really important to look at our future education, particularly around, like when I was raising my children. We've just cut out a little bit, but I'm back again. So I just wanted to say, so when we're looking at Indigenous education in Australia and, cultural education and that being shared, as well as the actual history of Australia, when I was raising my children, and I was asked about the question that you all get asked about religious education, do you want religious education? So I actually asked them, well, is that religious education comparative religion of all religions? And is there going to be inclusion of Indigenous culture being taught as wishing to be shared by First Nations people with the educational system? And I got told no. I said, okay, so what kind of education is it? And they said, oh, it's the Christian religion. I said, well, why can't it just be called Christian education instead of religious education? So really, I think when we look at racism, it really has to sort of start in the school system as to how we change. We're wanting to create change in the world. We need to look at the education system here and what information is shared from a young age with these, the future of our generations and our community and how that comes together. And the real story being spoken about particularly the massacres in Australia, frontline wars to do with Indigenous people being massacred by white people. And Captain Cook, who first came here and declared it terra nullius, which means no one here, and declared Indigenous people as fauna, which they're not. And I think part of bringing about equality is actually bringing that into the education system. And so if you've got kids at school, it'd be really good if you could actually speak up for actual equality, even in the way education is delivered. If you're an educator, well, have you ever stopped and thought about the way we're actually teaching our future generations to look at the world and bring that in? And whatever country you're in, how are people of colour celebrated instead of attempts to make them invisible? To bring up that equality so that all lives can matter because Black lives matter. Black lives have to start mattering first before all lives can matter. So it's really important to bring an inclusivity here. And if you are white, like me, use your privilege to help people. Use your privilege to give spotlight to people of colour, and to certainly speak out against inequality. And have the difficult conversations with your family, your friends, and people and on your public platform. I've certainly on my public platforms been promoting particularly Black artists, Black singers, and Indigenous people, as well. And it's really important to kind of look at how we can bring people up, not trying to bring them back down. And when we look at in our politics and people saying don't import an issue, the issue is already here. It's been here since the first arrival of Captain Cook. So, you can't get more than that. So just have a think about this. Some of these conversations are going to be quite uncomfortable. You might feel challenged. You might feel, well, I'm not like that. Yeah, okay, but the system is, and what can we do to change the system? What can we do as ourselves in each day to look at how we contribute to this and how we can change it? So I just think that's something that's really important in our world if we're going to really be honest, in wanting that equality. And one of the most spiritual things you can do is look at social justice. So I think it's just a very important issue. I just wanted to start off. It's my first show back since January, but I think it's really important. It's not just topical right now. It's really been important for a very long time to keep giving light to that. And to be a true light worker, it just means you can't just go, oh, well, that's not comfortable, I don't want to look at it. And I don't want to watch the news. I don't want to deal with what's going on in the world. It's about participation. So just have a think about that. These are crazy times we're in the sense of everything being brought up for chaos, and people can want normal again. But what if that normal wasn't actually good for everyone? What if that normal was harmful for some people in our community that have been silenced for too long? And how about we stop being silent about that and actually deal with it and create the change that we need in the world? Not just whitewash our history or whitewash our experience. So that's me for today. And if you don't like me because of what I've said, you want to go back to your comfortable world where everything's convenient to you, just think about the people that life is not convenient for right now. Just have a thought for them. And sending you all out love and light. I'm going to be back on some interesting subjects over the next few weeks. And if you're wanting to find me on Facebook, you can. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, day or morning on A1R, Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. Lots of love, Jacqueline. Bye.
Psychic Radio, Earth's #1 psychic radio network, and watching Moonstruck TV, enlightening television. Welcome.
And now Australia's Psychic Cowgirl with Tanya Reid. Live from AustraliaPsychicCowgirl.com.
Connect direct. In North America, dial 888-454-2751. In London, 20-3519-2158. In Sydney, dial 02-8488-3147. Or online, contact us through our Facebook page. Facebook.com/Psychic Radio. Or one of our websites, AskOneRadio.com or Moonstruck.tv. This is Australia's Psychic Cowgirl on A1R, the Ask One Radio Network.
G'day, Tanya Reeves, Australia's Psychic Cowgirl, coming at you from here in Sunday Creek, Victoria, Australia. How is everyone? I hope you've had a good week. We've had a lot of different things happening with eclipses and energies around at the moment. So there's a lot of people going through a little bit of extra turmoil at the moment, and just know that you're not alone. There's many that are in, a similar space, and it's just about, again, keeping the faith. I feel like I'm a broken down record saying that, but it is something that, we need to be aware of. And no matter what the tests that we're being asked to go through, that know that it is for your highest good. And for many of us, we're questioning maybe the direction that we were going in or relationships we have been in. So you're really being shown what isn't in alignment for you right at this point in time. So please take the time to trust that, because it really is, how can we say, we're really being shown it for a reason. So honour the process, trust the information that you're given, know that your gut feeling will never lead you astray, and tune into that and really get connected to your own psychic sense, which we all have. And I always encourage everyone to say, we're all a bit similar in that way, that we go through these things as a collective. So, even for those that aren't necessarily having major turmoil within your life, you might be picking up on some of the energies, or the current energies that are around, that people are, going through, others that are going through different things. So, yeah, just be aware of that. We had for this week for me, we had a great outcome with a little lost boy that was lost within the mountain that's close by to us, pretty much on our back doorstep here. So we were so wrapped yesterday to find out that he had been found after 2 nights out in the freezing cold, and in amongst forest and bushland. So we were really wrapped with that result. I went out with my neighbour on my horse, and we did a bit of looking around on the day before he was found. So yeah, and it was just great to see, as a community, everybody connecting together, and it was really wonderful that as a community, everyone stepped up. There was massive amounts of volunteers. Just everyone was volunteering to step up and help. And it just goes to show what a great place we live in, and just reinforces that, we have communities out there willing to help each other. And, it's nice to be a part of that. And it's also nice to have that wonderful outcome. And we were holding the faith, going, yep, we're going to find him. We were so strong on that. And I know my tribe, they're attached to my page, Australia's Psychic Cowgirl, we're all had our prayers and everything out there to get that outcome, and we were really wrapped that that's the way it went. So yeah, so that was encouraging. So, but anyway, if you're finding that you are struggling a little bit with the current energies and things going on around, don't forget to get outside. Nature's a great healer, and also gives us the tools to be able to move forward with things. Don't forget to also connect with your guides, your friends, family and spirit are around you. They want to help. There seems to be a thing where they won't interfere unless you ask. So don't forget to ask for signs, because you will get them. There's definitely no doubt about that. And but you do need to be present to receive them, and to be fully aware of what those signs are. So don't forget that. And, just that little bit of a reminder for us all. And I know I get that reminder myself too. So by all means, follow those signs. And there's also a lot of people relocating or thinking about moving at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see how the reads go tonight, whether there's a lot of that message comes through with the readings, which quite often there is that common thread where you're finding people are relocating or changing things up, and putting things into motion that almost like things that are needed. often when there's a little bit of turmoil around is when spirit will step in and give you signs because they know that you need the help. So again, being present and being mindful of those signs and acknowledge them and saying thank you. You know, it's such a powerful tool to say thank you to those around you that are helping, and you know that brings in that little bit of gratitude also that helps get us stronger and stronger. So that is pretty cool. So yeah, so hopefully we can ride this out, and as a collective we can all help each other. So remembering to help those around you, and that in turn then brings that help back to you. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, it's you know about being making the most of things. So sometimes we might get different outcomes or be thrown into something different, and we just need to be aware of, you know, of how we can manage that in the best way that suits us. So just keep that in mind, that you've got all the tools within you. Sometimes you just need to access that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'm just waiting now for my first caller to come on. Should be any moment now. Okay. All right. So I've got Tabitha on the phone. I'm not getting the message through. Okay, Lancaster, USA. Tabitha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good. Thank you for calling in. Okay, she's still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Beautiful. Okay. Is there any area you want me to focus on today for you specifically, or just tune in?
I'm just seeing if I have anything from the other side.
Okay. Can I ask his mum? I wanted to go to mum first. Have you got mum in spirit for you?
I only have a grandma.
Okay.
But right. It's like a mama. She's like a mama to me.
Yeah, because like she's come through first. And I do want to say there is a few up there, but it's like she's the opener. So she's got I do want to say there's something around her laugh. Like she has an energetic laugh is what I get. It's a little bit unusual, and that's what I wanted to point out with her coming through. I do want to say that she's stepping in for you at the moment because she's showing me that you're connecting with her strength. So there's been changes around where you've had to step up. And can I say, have you had to voice up something that you maybe had been sitting on for a while? Because it's like she's showing me you've finally grown the strength to stand up for yourself and say what is needed to be said.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's like, yay, because she's proud of you. And it's almost like that's why she's around you, is to help you do that. I've also got a male coming in, or she's bringing him forward, and I feel like he passed younger, so I do feel like I'm connecting with it's like she's bringing him through, so it's almost like he's someone that you wanted to connect with. It's like she's going, here he is, and she's handing him over to you. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like very important. And there's this massive big heart for you. And I want to say, I don't know whether there's a reference to a red heart around him, or that's his message to you, but it's like he's around you and he wants you to know, and it's like he's acknowledging that you do know he's around, and you have a bit of, yes. There's something around a bit of fun. He really enjoys laughing with you. So as much as I know it's a heartfelt connection, and knowing that he's around doesn't make up for the fact that he's not here in life, but he does enjoy it when you have a bit of a laugh with him.
Okay. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah. And it's like because he likes to have fun. So it's almost like there's a little bit of a message in that going, yeah, like don't be too serious. You know, I like to have fun and I get to have a laugh with you. And I do feel like he's showing me he's outside when he connects with you as well. So I feel like I'm going outside, and that's when he makes himself known. But it's quite funny and random. And I do also want to reference for you as a collective in spirit, they're showing me birds are relevant. So I do feel like, that you get signs from birds, and especially some random birds. So I do feel like when they're showing me that, it's not just, the ones that you would normally see around, but you're getting in different birds that you haven't maybe seen for a while, or you'll just get the odd one popping in and you go, oh, look at that. And I do want to say look up the meanings for those, because they'll be relevant in spirit bringing them to you. And I also feel like I want to go to butterflies as well. So it's almost like nature's really a big sign for you.
Okay.
All right. So it's like look out for those signs, because they're very relevant. The changes that you're making are really going to set yourself up. So I do want to say I see things being easier and more money coming in. So it's like keep going. You're on the right track is very important message from Spirit. They want you to know that. You're fully supported. Don't feel like you're on your own, because they're showing me they're all around you. And it's like they're pushing you.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing. Yeah, I'm laughing because they're like, don't look back. Keep looking forward. So they're very, very strong around to go, do not second guess what you're doing. You are right on track, and all will be revealed. There's something around in the next 4 weeks, something is going to come up, and I feel like it's an opportunity. So I feel like you know that this change is transpiring, but there's an opportunity that's going to come out of the blue, and I'd love you to connect with me and let me know, because it's exciting. So keep that in mind. If you're not seeing the big picture yet, you will be.
Okay. And do you happen to see a little boy around me?
Yeah, well, there was that. I initially wanted to go to this energy around being the younger, the younger person passing, but then it sort of transpired to him being different to what I first saw. So the little boy is quite timid. So I want to say it's like he's there, but he's a little bit like not one to jump up and jump into a conversation. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like he's shy, but he's around. You feel his energy, and I feel like he's holding your hand, I want to say. Okay? He's definitely there. So it's like, don't doubt that, but he's very soft and gentle, an absolutely gorgeous, sensitive soul. I am running out of time. Please message me on my Australia Psychic Cowgirl page, and I can delve in a little bit deeper for your gorgeous boy. More than happy to do that for you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ronetta, guys. Same time, same place next week. Sonia Rees signing off. Woo-hoo.
A1R Psychic Radio, Earth's #1 psychic radio network, and watch Enlightening Television. Welcome. Time for Amanda Hall Psychic with Amanda Hall. Live from AmandaHallPsychic.com.au. Connect direct. In North America, dial 888-454-2751. In London, 20-3519-2158. In Sydney, dial 02-8488-3147. Or online, contact us through our Facebook page, facebook.com/psychic radio.
Or one of our websites,
AskOneRadio.com or Moonstruck.tv. This is Amanda Hall Psych on A1R, the Ask One Radio Network.
Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV. You're here with Amanda Hall Psychic all the way from the Gold Coast. I hope you've had a really positive sort of week. I mean, as the world seems to try and strike a balance of what's a new normal now as we're all starting to come out of COVID lockdown in some form or another around the world. And I know that that makes it a very struggling and a very challenging time for a lot of us as we try and manoeuvre our way with the restrictions that are going on locally, what's going on in your own country and what's going on globally. So it's quite a confusing time, but I'm sure we'll all get there. We're adaptable, we're humans, and it's a brand new week. So this week, the Simply Tarot card of the week that I've chose just before the show is the Seven of Swords. Now, the Seven of Swords is actually the highest of the minor arcana. Now, the tarot cards are split into two parts of the deck, the major arcana and the minor arcana. And the minor arcana is what we're working with today on the show, is the Seven of Swords. And it's the highest card of the minor arcana. So it's the card of our plans, our hopes, and it's also the wish card. Now, wouldn't that be nice if we got some wishes granted around the world? And I don't know about you, but I only have two things that I sort of wish for at the moment. One would be that we get an end to this COVID-19, that we could all get back to sort of normal life. And the other would be that we start to love one another and accept everybody on the planet, no matter what their colour of their skin, what their religious background is, what they believe in, that we can all become one world. Wouldn't that be an amazing place? But I'm sure that, we still have a little way to go with that. So let's move the show along and let's look at what we're working with this week on an astrological level. Look, it seems to be forever we've been talking about COVID, and it's been a really difficult, I think, couple of weeks as, the world sort of attention has focused on, people being killed unlawfully or by the wrong ways. And it's sort of, it's interesting to see the way that the world's reacting to one person's death. Now, I'm not trying to minimise that, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't. I just see it from an astrological point of view as a very, very interesting marker in time, because for many years now on the show I've been talking about Pluto's role in Capricorn and how his role is to deliberately change the world, to make us sort of start to sit up and think and take responsibility for our actions and look at the ways that we're doing things and looking at the things that aren't working in our lives and saying now is the time that we all have to unite together and force change in this globe of ours. And it's interesting because we've seen changes in money markets, we've seen changes in the way that people do business around the globe. We've had a lot of people jumping up and down and carrying on about global warming, which I think is an amazing thing that we all need to jump up and down about. And we're starting to slowly see countries and nations starting to change their policies on fossil fuels and things like that. Still not going fast enough, but we're heading in the right direction. And then we've seen the pandemic, and now we're seeing people starting to stand up for civil rights. Now, all of these things are very much a Pluto thing, because Pluto sort of makes us dive under the covers and look at the things that have been hidden, or the things that we see that are too difficult to handle, that we sort of say, oh, I'll put that away for another day. Well, that other day has now arrived. Now, Pluto is leading the charge now with the direction of where things are going. So this is why we're seeing sort of such intensity, and we're seeing things grow on a daily basis. And I know even here in Australia, people are saying, well, why are we so obsessed with this one particular death in the US? And, a terrible tragedy in a terrible way that man died. But why are we all up in arms about it? It's not just symbolising his death. It's it struck a nerve. Everybody's saying enough. We've had enough now. We've had a few months of sort of sitting there contemplating our navel during COVID-19, being locked indoors and having to sort of straighten out our own lives and look at what's important to us. And this is part of the reason why I think people are saying, well, hang on a minute, life's too short. And nobody deserves to die under those circumstances. We need to do something about this. We need to change our culture. We need to change our thinking. Look, I'm not saying one side's right and the other side's wrong. I'm saying collectively as a globe, we all need to sort of start becoming more accountable, looking at the way that we conduct ourselves, the way we conduct business, the way we conduct our daily lives. And this is what Pluto's been asking us to do, is to question, is to stand up to governments in a positive sort of way, not in a destructive way. Nobody's asking you to go out there and break the law, but to try and get your voice heard in a very positive way. And it will be that, politicians do react to the public. They want to be popular. They want to get re-elected. So, this is why if you use your voice in a positive way and do it in a constructive way by voting in your local elections and things like that, that your voice, your one vote or your one voice does matter and it does count. So we've got Pluto conjunct or holding hands Jupiter in Capricorn at the moment. So it's asking the world to transform together as one. It's not asking us to individually sort of have an argument with each other. It's asking us all to unite and conduct ourselves in a way that we can get real change happening. Now, the interesting thing, as Pluto and Jupiter come to the end of their reign in Capricorn, and Jupiter will move out of Capricorn before Pluto, they're both conjunct or holding hands Saturn in Aquarius. Now, Saturn in Aquarius is the disciplinarian planet. He's also asking us to think outside the square. Let's find new solutions. Let's sort of have some light bulb moments. Let's have some discussions. Let's look at things differently. Things cannot go on the way that they were. And he's also asking us to sort of have a voice in a different way. And that doesn't mean stand up and be aggressive. It just means make your voice matter. And I feel that that's really, really important. And I think a lot of people have just got lost in the way of how that they can use their voice. And there's many different ways you can use your voice. You can send an email to your local member of parliament. You can make sure that you vote. You can make sure that, you sort of are well informed before you open your mouth and start talking about things that you know nothing about. And try and be kind to each other. I think that's the first step, is always be kind to your fellow man. We also have the planet Mars, which is the planet of action, the planet of war, the planet that motivates us to get out of bed of a morning. He's holding hands or conjunct Neptune. Now, Neptune's the planet of illusion or delusion. Now, they're both sitting in Pisces. Now, with Neptune, I don't always look at Neptune as being delusionary. I look at Neptune as showing us different ways of solving a problem. So it is taking it out into sort of the never and sort of looking for a solution and bringing it back and saying, wow, this is a different way of looking at things. Maybe this is what I need to be doing. Some astrologers I know talk about Neptune being in a fog, and eventually you sort of clear your way out of the fog and there comes the solutions. I like to look at Neptune as being creative, of giving us a different way of looking at things, at saying, well, hang on a minute, have you thought about it this way? Have you looked at it that way? It may not always be the answer, but at least it's asking us to remove ourselves out of our comfortable position and get into maybe a prickly area or another area that we hadn't thought of. So with Mars, they're holding hands with Neptune at the moment. He's asking us to find answers to life's decisions and life's prickly areas in a different sort of way. It's not asking us to be aggressive or angry or to be destructive. Mars doesn't, when we talk about war or going to war or being in a combative energy, it doesn't mean we have to be aggressive as in destructive. We can be affirmative, we can be definite, we can be positive, we can sort of be firm on our decisions and our choices and make our voices heard that way. So that's where I'm going to leave the astrology this week. I mean, of course, COVID hasn't sort of been eradicated from the world yet. I wish we could say it had. I'm looking forward to the day when we don't have any more cases of COVID in the world. I still think that's a little way off, unfortunately. And I'm the forever optimist, thinking that things will improve quickly. And I still believe that we haven't yet got to the bottom of the answers of how COVID came about and why COVID came into the world. I mean, I think it's about one of the areas of making us change as a globe, but I also feel that there's more information yet to come out about that. Okay, so this week's candle that I've chosen, and I've chosen this deliberately. I've chosen the candle of love because I feel that love is what makes the world go round, and love is the energy that I think we need to try and heal the planet at the moment. We've got to try and heal everybody's raw emotions. We've got to try and be kind to each other. We've got to try and bring more loving energy into the world. And I think that's really, really important, because if we bring love into the world, we bring positivity into the world, we bring hope, we bring newness, we bring freshness, we bring this renewed enthusiasm of maybe the world's going to be a better place. Love isn't always about romance and falling in love. It has a much broader appeal than that. Love is something that makes the world go round by a positive, loving, caring sort of energy, and that's what I think we need to be doing. We all need to be taking some responsibility for that. So this week, the gift pack that I've made up is yes, staying along the same theme of the love candle, but I will continue to share with us my angel in the sky, and you can see those burning at the back of the set there. That's the candles that I'm burning collectively for all the darling angels that we've lost through COVID-19. And, there's been other people that have lost lives for other reasons, but I'm particularly burning it for the COVID patients, because I think we're not giving enough focus to how many people have passed away around this world during this pandemic, and also the candle of healing. I really do think the planet needs to heal on every sort of level, and it's not just healing us from COVID-19. I think we need to heal emotionally, we need to heal as a globe, and we need to heal together. We need to stop this nastiness and this bitterness and this fighting between countries and nations and, taking sides in things. We are all in this together. We are one world, and we need to be focusing on that. And I think we can all do our part in playing our role in the healing of the planet. I think that that's very, very important. And I know that for many of you, you have, your very definite opinions on what you think the world should be doing at the moment. And a lot of people are still quite frightened, are still quite rattled that they don't have enough work coming in or enough money to pay their bills, and are very uncertain about their futures. My suggested course of action would be take 1 hour at a time. Don't try and sort of absorb everything in one go. If you try and take hour by hour and try and make the next hour count and try and remain positive and sort of focus on little pieces, little steps, you will find it easier, and you will find solutions, and you will find that eventually we do get where we need to go. And sometimes we have to be forced into change that we wouldn't have necessarily taken, but it's part of our own personal destiny or our own personal journey here on earth, that these things are forced upon us to make us change. So having said that, we're going to talk with Jackie in Colorado Springs in Colorado. Are you there, Jackie?
Yes, I'm here. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Jackie. Do you have a question I can work with, sweetie?
I'm sorry?
You have a question I can answer for you?
Yes, I'm actually have a question regarding my citizenship. I just applied for my citizenship 2 years ago, and it's still in the process. I'm just wondering what's going on, and also I've misplaced a very important item, if I just can get anything on that. Those are my two things. How are you?
I'm good. Okay. Look, the first thing I'm picking up around you is that there is changes coming, even though they might have been slow and long-winded and might have taken longer than you would have liked them to. There is change coming. But I question whether or not you've changed in yourself in this last couple of years, that, whether or not your priorities have changed, and maybe had you got everything you wanted a couple of years ago, it may not have been right, because I feel your direction in life has changed. Do you think that's a fair statement?
Yeah. That kind of, yeah. I think a lot have changed. I have 2 kids, I'm just trying to juggle that. So I think I'm coming a little bit into myself and finding a little bit of calmness going on, I think, within me.
Well, that's good. Well, that's good if you find some calmness in this madness at the moment in the world, Jackie. You're one of the rare people I've spoken to recently that can say to me that they're finding some calmness. That's good. But I also sort of feel that there's a change of job or something coming up for you by about August or September. So is that something that you were thinking about or looking towards?
I'm a stay-home mother, and I've been debating and contemplating. I'm not sure what I want to do. I've been thinking about going back to school to be a dental hygienist. I'm not sure if that's the right route I want to go to. So I'm just struggling and fighting with what I want to do when I come back from being a stay-home mom. And I was thinking of maybe starting school in August. So I'm still all up in the air right now. Yeah.
Well, let's be very clear. The most important job that we can do on the planet as women is mums, is being a mum, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being a stay-home mum. I think if you've had the luxury and the opportunity to do that, grab it with both hands and keep your children close and enjoy every second with them, because they do grow so quickly, and before you blink, they're often off to college and leaving home, and those precious memories are no longer the opportunity for you to make. Look, I think it's interesting that we put too much pressure on ourselves as sort of, oh, I'm only a stay-at-home mum, instead of sort of saying, well, I'm proud to be a stay-at-home mum, that this is the most important job I can do in the world. But having said that, I do appreciate and that you are a human being and you have needs, and you want to feel like you're making some sort of personal progress for yourself, and not just bring extra money into the coffers as well, but you need to do something for you as a person, and I appreciate and understand all that. That must be why they showed me August as being sort of like a turning point for you with going back to work. But see, going back into some sort of study, getting you ready to go back to work would be the same thing to me. So it's like around August is a turning point. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. I mean, there'll be a lot of things that'll come and go out of your mind over the next month or so. Just let them come. It's like the tide coming in, the tide going out. Don't get upset by it. If there's things there that are uncomfortable, look at it, understand it, and then let it go. It's a time of great clearing happening in your life at the moment. I'm also going to say, who's the man, and I'm not talking about a love interest here, who's the man with the very, very dark hair that was tall, that was somehow or another important to you in high school? Now, I'm not sure, I'm not talking about a boyfriend. I think there was a male in your life then, whether it was a teacher or something like that. There's news of that person, and I don't think you've thought about them in a long time, but when you do, you think, oh, yeah, look, he was such an important role model in my life at, when I was 16. Oh, that's nice to hear that, something wonderful's happened. I want to use that as a marker in time. When someone mentions something like that to you in passing and it takes you for a little trip down memory lane, just past that point will be then when you've really got to pay attention to the things that are coming into your mind, because that will be there where we start to get the pieces to the puzzle of the next stages of your life. It's like, this is to get your attention. Here's the information that you've got to start putting the pieces into your own jigsaw puzzle. So has there been some talk about moving residence, Jackie?
We recently moved residency. We purchased a new home, so we literally are almost a month in our new house.
Okay, good. Right, because I was still feeling quite unsettled, with a move around you. So, if you've only been a month in the new house, it takes time to sort of settle in, doesn't it? So, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I still think there's things there that you want to change. I just don't know that everything's quite where you want it to be yet. So, just enjoy the new home, and I know that things are going to turn around and move forward for you, Jackie, and it's been lovely to talk with you. And I hope you're having a good time in Colorado Springs. We're going to work with Angelina now in Washington, D.C. Are you there, Angelina? Hello, Angelina. Oh, I'm sure Angelina will be with us in a minute. So, why don't we all focus on that beautiful song by the Beatles that, love makes the world go round, all you need is love. And I think that's a very important song that we could all be playing ourselves today, is All You Need Is Love, and understanding that love does make the world go round. As we're waiting for Angelina to join us, we've lost her somewhere along the line. But it is very, very interesting, over a very extensive career in the psychic industry. The more I work with people, the more I understand that, everybody's different and everybody has different ways of dealing with crises. Are you there, Angelina? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Angelina? How are you, sweetie? Do you
Good
have a question
afternoon.
I can work with? You have
I'm
a
sorry,
question
I
I can
barely
work
can
with,
hear
Angelina?
you.
You can't hear me, sweetie.
A little bit. You gotta also forgive me. I'm also doing grocery shopping too.
Oh, okay. Do you have a question I can work with, please, Angelina?
I'm sorry, but yes, my first name is Elena.
Right. And do you have a question you'd like me to answer for you, sweetie?
The first thing I would like to know about is finances and good work, stable work.
Okay. Let me tune into that
Because
for you,
looking
Angelina.
to buy a car as well as get my own fleet.
Okay. Well, they're all important areas of your life, Angelina, that you want to get sort of sorted out. I can understand that. The first thing that they're showing me is that there's still a tiny little bit of waiting time, Angelina, before you get what I consider to be permanent, regular sort of work, something that you can rely on. They're showing me that that won't come in until about August. I'm not saying that there won't be work prior to August. I'm just saying by August, it seems to be when you can sort of breathe a sigh of relief. I've got something that's consistent. It's every week. I know exactly what I'm going to bring in. I can start to sort of make some longer range plans for where I'm going and what I'm doing. So that seems to be, you've still got about 6 or 7 weeks to wait for that. But in that period of time, I think there will be a reasonable amount of what I call casual or unstable sort of work, but there's enough money coming in for you to start sort of putting some money away to sort of get a car and to sort of get your own place and to get your life back on track. It's been a very difficult 18 months, Angelina. I feel that, nothing that you've been able to sort of make any plans with or keep it together in this last 18 months. So things are now starting to sort of stabilise. Have you started doing something different in as much as sort of looking after yourself better, or you've changed your diet or looking at things in a different way? Because they're showing me that your physical health is starting to improve drastically. It's like I've got more energy. I feel more comfortable with myself. I feel as if I'm feeling the best I've felt in a very, very long time. So whatever you've done, whatever changes you've made, keep it up, because I feel it really is benefiting you, and that's a good thing. I'm seeing you in a place of your own, sort of by, well and truly by the end of August, maybe even at the beginning of the month. It's sort of like everything's starting to come together. I think you'll have a place of your own probably a little bit sooner than you will the car. But I'm going to say to you, the job and where you're going to be living are so close that a car may not necessarily